Thanks, Andy, and good morning this Wednesday morning, the 20th day of October, 2010. I'm joined in the studio this morning by folks from the Statewide Health Improvement Program, Patrick Hollister and Karen Nitzgorski. Welcome back to Hodgepodge.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right. Well, you had a big deal on the 6th day of October, a few weeks ago, International Walk to School Day, and you're here to talk kind of a wrap up on that.
Yes, first of all, we want to thank many people for that successful day. We also want to encourage people to do more of that kind of thing, like walking to school or biking to school or walking to work or biking to work. There were thousands of kids that walked in Detroit Lakes that morning, and it was really just heartwarming to see their enthusiasm. And we actually had about 1,400 kids walking at the Roosevelt and middle school site, and probably about 500 to 600 kids and adults at Rossman that morning. And there's many people to thank, but I'm going to turn it over to Patrick because he wants to thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I think, first of all, Carol, thanks a lot, and thank you to KDLM for all your support. And it was fantastic that you were able to, I don't know if you were broadcasting live that morning or if you were just pre-recording, and you also interviewed some notables, right? I think Officer Bowe and Sandy Nelson, right? And,
That's
and
right,
some
the
other people.
principals and some of the teachers involved in organizing it all, too.
So fantastic. Thank you for doing that. And it was a great day. I realized that pictures don't go far on the radio, but for your benefit, Carol, I did bring some photos, so I know that the people out there listening can't see them. But we had a couple of walking school buses that morning, right? And so that was great. And I think we've talked a little bit about what that is before, but a walking school bus is just a group of kids that picks up kids as they go along and led by an adult, and they finally get to school. So that was great. We had volunteers in orange vests out there helping to control traffic. And the great thing that happened at Rossman Elementary was that all the kids, regardless of how they got to school that morning, then had sort of a mass walk around, I believe it was a distance of a mile. They actually walked around the school, and they were all carrying signs. A lot of them were singing songs, and it was just fantastic. And so then they got into school. I think they had so much more energy that day. And on the school administrators, the principal, the superintendent, Ted, the business director for the district, they were all there, and they were all just beaming. I mean, everybody just had such an upbeat mood that morning. And obviously the weather certainly helped, too. We had fantastic weather that day, so we were really, really lucky on that front.
Carol, tell us what some of your perceptions were that morning.
Oh, the kids just standing out there prior to school starting, and just some of the kids coming in, they knew, it was there was a lot of buzz going on. Of course, it was donut day at that school too. It was at Rossman where I was standing, but the kids were excited from the get-go. Coming into school, standing down there with the radio station stuff up. They were like, "What's going on today?" I said, "Well, it's International Walk to School Day." "Oh yeah," and the reception I got was that these kids, they were walking and they were just happy to be outside and just very energetic. They were energized even more is what I got out of it, and the teachers, were looking forward to a good day, I think. It was just a way for the kids to, get some of that excess energy out of their system before they headed into classes.
Yeah, we have lots of research that shows that more physical activity in a day actually helps with behavior. It helps with test scores. It helps with all around just better, I guess they'd be more productive during their day. And so we really want to encourage everybody to think about how that could help their student, their child, and see if there's ways to get more physical activity in their daily lives.
Well, and the kids given the opportunity, love to get outside. I didn't see any kid that didn't want to go outside, on a nice day. And I think that's probably one of the key factors too, because if kids are given the opportunity to do that, they'll do it.
Yes. That's for sure. And we need to thank, I'm going to, before we take a break, just thank some of the people at the schools. At Rossman Elementary, we had, of course, the principal, Sandy Nelson, and then the FIA teacher that was the coordinator of International Walk to School Day there was Cammie Eckhoff, and she did a great job. Same at Roosevelt. Chris Nelson did a wonderful job, and she was on the radio last month with us. And Jerry Hansen, their principal, were all helpful, as were all the teachers that walked with the students. So, and then at the middle school, Mike Sukert and Patty Mulberg both helped that effort. And those kids maybe weren't prepared to go outside, but they said, let's all get out too and be part of this too. And at Roosevelt, one of the really cool things that Chris Nelson organized was that they had their International Walk to School banner set up like a finish line, and they had the fifth graders lined up as all of the kids came by, and all of those fifth graders were cheering. So that just reinforced the kind of behavior that we really want to see more of.
Right. Karen Nitskorsky and Patrick Hollister, my guests this morning on Hodgepodge. They are from the Statewide Health Improvement Program, and we are going to take a quick break and be back with more and what's next after this. Thanks, Andy. Welcome back to Hodgepodge this Wednesday morning. I'm in the studio with Karen Nitskorsky, Patrick Hollister from the Statewide Health Improvement Program. And a little bit later, we're going to be joined by Kitty Keevy from Detroit Lakes Community Education, talking about some of the things going on through community education here in Detroit Lakes. Well, Karen and Patrick are here, of course, to kind of talk about the wrap-up of the International Walk to School Day, which was held earlier this month on October 6th. Grade schools in Detroit Lakes, kids participating and walking to school and getting out and getting a little exercise and promoting active living. And that's what SHIP is all about, of course.
It is. And part of that, too, is nutrition. And St. Mary's Innovis Health, which is soon to become an Essentia affiliate, or maybe is and soon changing their name. I'm not quite sure where they are with that. But they donated bananas for all of the kids that walked that morning. And that's another wonderful message and reinforcement that here you got to walk and then you got a banana as a thank you for walking. And thanks to them for donating that. That was wonderful. And Marcia Parker, who works there and helped get those bananas, she also helped pass them out. She's on our active living committee, and she helped pass those out that morning, along with some high school students that helped. Emily Ritchie up at the high school organized those kids to come over and help. And she also found me two, one's a football star and one's a hockey star. They followed me around at Roosevelt that morning and videotaped. So we need to thank them. It was great to have their energy and involvement. We also had volunteers Sarah and Jody and Laverne and a couple people from our community leadership team, Kim Betcher, Rhonda Stock from Becker County, Kim Betcher's from the DLCCC. We also had, I mentioned Patty Mulberg. She's also on our community leadership team and is a FIA teacher at the middle school. Brad Green from the city was driving around and watching that activity this morning, and he thanked us for all of the success that he saw. He also noticed that because our volunteers were in big orange vests, the traffic slowed down around the schools, and that was really true at Roosevelt. And we really do need to probably bring attention to that. Every morning we'd like to see the traffic slow down at a very busy intersection near Roosevelt. And I believe it's on Roosevelt and Central, that intersection. And we just want to thank the community for embracing this event. The kids made posters, which was really fun. And Chief Keene at the police department provided all of the vests that we used that morning and had his officers patrolling even more than usual that morning. So thanks to the community effort.
All right. So what happens next now? We had this event. This was something that's part of the school district's plan to, promote active living and nutrition. What happens next?
Well, and I invite Karen to chime in here too, but I think one thing that we'd certainly like to do is like to see that become an annual event. And so we're already thinking about what to do next year. I mean, October 6th went beautifully in Detroit Lakes, but there's always room for improvement, and I think Karen's got at least a mental list of refinements that she'd like to implement for next year, and so we hope to be able to be involved. We hope that the school district here would be interested in doing it next year, and we hope to be involved in that process. I just want to point out, too, that our statewide health improvement program here, we sometimes call it BCOWSHIP. That stands for Becker, Clay, Ottertail, and Wilkin, because those are the 4 counties in our local SHIP group. We are now on YouTube, and we have, I think, somewhere like 17 or 18 videos now on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is called BCOWSHIP. So just go on to YouTube and look and just search for BCOWSHIP, and you'll find somewhere around 17 or 18 videos, including several videos from Detroit Lakes International Walk to School Day. And I think there are a few other Detroit Lakes related videos on there as well. So check that out. And also visit our Facebook page. Just go into Facebook and search for Statewide Health Improvement Program, and we have a lot of updates there about our activities in Detroit Lakes as well. So we're trying to upgrade our internet presence, get fully into the cyber age here.
All right.
Yes, and some of the things is that we just really want to sustain these efforts and active living efforts. And so just we'll be, I don't know if we'll be unveiling that many more special events, but we hope that we'll be working with leaders to have policy systems, environmental changes that will just allow everybody to have more active living opportunities in Detroit Lakes.
All right. Karen Itzgorski, Patrick Hollister from the Statewide Health Improvement Program here in the studio with me this morning. And I want to thank you for coming in this morning. Anything else to add before we head out?
We're working with the Detroit Lakes School District to apply for a Safe Routes to School grant, both the school district and City Hall. And the next round of grants is going to be from January to March of 2011. And so we think that the city will actually be the applicant for that grant. But we're actually going to try to get some funds through the state that ultimately came from the feds to improve some of the infrastructure around the schools and make it easier for kids to walk or bike to school. So stay tuned for that one, too.
All right. Patrick Hollister, Karen Itzgorski, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to take a quick break and be back with Community Ed after this. Great. Thank you. And I'll save that, and I'll